we're back, and today we're going to be doing numbers 4 and 3 of our Amazing Race winner rankings.
Are we really going to be doing number 4 and 3?
No, because we have a tie for 3rd place, you guys.
Right. This is something we have decided and worked on over 30 TAR teams.
Yes.
We've been able to come to agreement on the placement of every one of them until now. We cannot agree on who should be the number 3 and number 4 top ranked team. So we have declared a tie for number 3, and we're going to explain why that is.
And the tie is between BJ and Tyler and Nick and Star.
That's right.
So
who do you want to start with first?
we'll start off with Nick and Star, who I wanted to be number 3. They won season 13 and 7 legs.
Yeah, so they're certainly a dominant team in their season. The dominant team in their season, along the lines of, say, Megan and Shane. Not quite at the point of Dave and Rachel, but certainly one of the top teams in terms of winning legs.
Yeah. They did have some tough competition, though, even though they were the dominant team, with Ken and Tina and Tony and Dallas.
Yeah, Tony and Dallas was a good team. Ken and Tina was this sort of middle-aged couple that was working on their marriage, and they had a great story, and they ended up being a really tough team as well.
They were really good, very connected and in sync, and they were just like good at everything, it seemed like.
Right, and even though I would rank them 4th of all the teams, I have to agree that they may have the best connection of any team in the history of the race, especially of any of the winners in the race. So they just were always sort of on the same page, but they also had fun with each other. You know, they didn't always take it super seriously. So yeah, they were just always locked in, and it was very impressive.
They were really supportive of each other, but they weren't too supportive in kind of a Chris and John aspect. And they bantered a lot, which was really fun to watch.
Yeah, they had some good interaction between themselves, between them and some of the other teams. They were not one of these teams that was just like dead serious all the time. They were different from Megan and Shane in that respect, who were just kind of very zen and calm. These guys sort of, they got excited about things, but it was still fun to watch.
Yeah. Star did have a flirtation with Dallas from Tony and Dallas, but that did not distract her, and that's always really impressive to see.
That's right, and because many teams have let themselves get sort of thrown off their game by a flirtation, and so Star really kind of ranks right up there with my boys, Bates and Anthony, who could handle a flirtation during the race and not let it throw them off and still go to victory, even though she and Dallas did have a pretty strong flirtation, and they dated for some time after the show as well. So it was a real connection, but it did not let Star get thrown off in terms of the race.
One of the final leg challenges was climbing up a tree, tight roping between 2 trees, and then grabbing half of a clue, and then your partner will grab the other half of the clue. And they were really good at it because they were both dancers. Star was a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys, and Nick was a Broadway actor.
Yeah, and they needed all of that training and all of that fitness, because that was a tough final leg. One of the hardest final legs, I think, of any season of The Amazing Race. And so they get extra points for having been the ones who did the best in that final leg.
The final leg was really difficult, and there was a lot of running and walking, which definitely was in Nick and Star's favor.
Yeah, but we shouldn't forget Ken and Tina, because this was also one of the most competitive final legs of all time.
Yeah.
Ken and Tina led for a good part of that final leg and looked like they might actually pull out the win, even though that they were significantly older than the other teams. But Nick and Star did just sort of come on in the end and prove to be unstoppable, just like they were for most of the season.
Yeah. I loved Nick and Star.
Did you really?
I did.
I didn't know. I never realized that.
Top 10 team for me. I just really like good sibling teams.
You do.
I do.
You've always been a big fan of Blake and Paige and other sibling teams, Bates and Anthony.
That's more of a you thing.
Okay. Well, then let's go to our other third-ranked team. Tying with Nick and Star is BJ and Tyler. So everyone's beloved hippies from season 9. Why don't you talk about their statistics for that season?
Yeah, so they won season 9 and 5 legs.
Right, so they were one of the dominant teams of the season, but not the dominant team like Nick and Star were. They actually were competitive at pretty much the same level with Eric and Jeremy all season.
Speaking of Eric and Jeremy, they beat a lot of strong teams with Ray and Yolanda, Eric and Jeremy, Monica and Joseph, Fran and Barry, Blake and Michelle, and Lori and Dave.
We love Lori and Dave. We're just giving them a shout out there.
Yeah.
They were a good team. A lot of fun to watch. They were so in love.
They were.
But yeah, those were all good teams. And even though they were good teams, they didn't win many legs other than Eric and Jeremy and BJ and Tyler.
Yeah. They did use travel and internet experience to their advantage.
Yeah, they did. BJ and Tyler were really sharp about knowing how to book things really fast online. They used their travel experience a lot during the race, and it really benefited them. And that's great. I mean, it really gave them the advantage at some key times in the race.
Yeah. They were just really, really funny. They pranked Eric and Jeremy a lot with the fake sign-up sheet and jumping out of the shadows onto their car. And they had a lot of fun doing the race, too.
Oh, they may have had more fun than anyone else ever during the race. And so, you think about our criteria of raceability and watchability and likability. And BJ and Tyler were definitely very strong as raceability, but extremely high in terms of watchability and likability.
Yeah.
And they were just, they just made it a whole sort of different kind of season with their shenanigans. Even Billy, our dog, loves them.
Yeah.
And it was just such a change from the way teams have approached the race before. They really approached it less like a race and more like a circus,
Yeah.
And they were two of the performers.
Yeah. They had a really good relationship with everyone on the race. They had plans to visit each of them after the race and do something that they both wanted to do.
And they did do that. They
Yeah.
did visit after the race. They visited with a lot of the teams that they were competing against, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. They did get 2 non-eliminations.
Okay. Yes. So now we do factor non-elims in to this. And yes, they did get 2 non-eliminations. And that's why I don't have them ranked first of all the teams, and that's why they are ranked number 3 for me. But yes, that is something that is, you can't deny it.
Yeah.
But again, I rank them highly, not mostly for their raceability, which is that non-elims factor into, but in their watchability and likability.
But they did win the last 3 legs, which is always just amazing.
Yeah, so that tells you a lot about who the best team is at the end. BJ and Tyler won the last 3 legs, including the final leg.
Yes. The final challenge was huge. It was this flag memory competition, and it was really close with Eric and Jeremy. But BJ pulled it out in the end, and they won.
Yeah, it's again one of the more visually, I think, interesting final challenges to watch, because you had all these flags across this big field, and one of the team members had to put them in the right order of the countries that they visited, and it was really close. I think Jeremy was doing it for Eric was.
I think so. Yeah.
Eric was doing it for the frat boys, and then BJ was doing it for the hippies, and it went kind of back and forth, and looked like Jeremy Eric might be winning it, but then, like you said, BJ pulled it out. And BJ and Tyler went to the finish line and capped what was a fantastic season.
Yes. So that's it for this winner ranking.
There you go. Yes, our first tie.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So we don't have a 4th place team, but we do have 2 3rd place teams, BJ and Tyler and
Nick and Star. So number 1 and 2 is coming very soon.
This is it. Yes, the finale of our rankings. But also we want to hear from you. So let us know, who would you have picked to be number 3 and number 4 if it were in a tie for you? Who would you rank higher, BJ and Tyler or Nick and Star? Let us know.
Yeah, and try to predict who we're going to put as number 1 and 2, because I want to see what y'all think.
Yeah, you should be able to figure out, if you've been watching,
Yeah.
who the 1 and 2 are. But who's going to be number 1? Who's going to be number 2?
Yeah. So bye guys.
All right,
See you very
bye.
soon.
Season finale coming up.
Yes.